You alright, everybody? How you doing?
Come on.
Stranger!
What?
Stranger!
I'm not a stranger. I'm his dad.
It's a long time no see. I haven't been on YouTube for quite a while, but I wanted to get back to it, and I thought a nice way to do it would be make a very easy, very comfortable sit-down video talking through books that I've got. One of the things I can show that may be of interest to people is my admittedly rather small collection of Folio Society books. Folio Society, for those of you who don't know, is a very sort of premium, high-end book collection that make these very high quality hardback books that have very nice illustrations sort of peppered throughout, and they are very, very expensive. If you are going to collect folios, firstly, I totally understand you. The allure of them is very much there. However, collect them secondhand because you'll get them so much cheaper, and there are so many editions that aren't in print anymore because the catalogue is constantly changing. So I want to show you the folios that I have because I love them. I think they're wonderful. I'll start off with the first folio that I ever got, which was gifted to me, and it's the only one that I've ever been given or have purchased that was at full price.
Cheapskate.
So the first one is The Road by Cormac McCarthy, and I'll show you. It's absolutely gorgeous. It has this gorgeous cover here, and on the back continues the illustrations. It's a very beautiful copy. The Road is a tale of a father and son in this sort of dystopian landscape. Essentially, they want to get to the sea. It's the one thing that is keeping them going, and it's the one thing that is making them want to carry on. But the father himself is ill, and it's his perseverance and his willingness to do whatever he can to help his son survive and to carry on the human race, essentially. It's a very beautifully written book. It's very simple in its prose. However, McCarthy's sort of minimal and spare writing really carries it. Compared to how he used to write, let's say in the 70s or 80s, it does not hold a candle to the sort of the density and the poetic nature of that writing. This writing in here is just beautiful though. It's so spare. If not for the book itself, you just love the book. You want it because of the illustrations. So if you look at the frontispiece, for instance, it has this beautiful illustration here. I'm just going to show these off and just sort of highlight them because I think that the illustrations throughout these books are just beautiful. The illustrations, absolutely. I mean, look at that. It's gorgeous, isn't it? And oh, look at this. That's just, I'm in absolute awe of that. It's absolutely gorgeous. Just the moment in which the father fires the flare up. It's just beautiful. The Road cost £55. If you do want it and you can't pay that, you would have to wait several years, I think, until it falls in price. I would get very lucky on eBay. So £55 for The Road. There are several Cormac McCarthy books in the Folio collection. They have No Country for Old Men, All the Pretty Horses, and Blood Meridian. I imagine they will expand that over time and make more of his books into the Folio editions. I'm excited for that. I would love, if they make Outer Dark, I'm there. I love Outer Dark so much. I love it. If they make Outer Dark, I'm there. I love that book. The next folio that I got, I think, I could be very wrong, was To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper. There is a modern edition of this which looks ugly.
You bitch!
Sometimes the older titles just look nice. I mean, this is just a gorgeous finish. I just love how this book looks. To Kill a Mockingbird is one of my favourite books ever. It's just a beautifully written, not at all preachy, very simple and so touching. The perseverance of the human spirit towards something better, I think. So this book here was £5.99 and it's in excellent condition. This book contains much more rudimentary sort of pen and pencil illustrations, but they're really atmospheric and very evocative. You see all these illustrations and they really do heighten the mood of the book. But yeah, just a beautiful story and I can't wait to reread it. So £5.99 for that one. Again, steal. This one I got quite recently. This book here is Mark Twain's The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn. And I've not read any Twain, and the story of Huckleberry Finn is one that I'm interested in, obviously, having read James. And the illustrations in this, I think they're wood engravings, but just, if you look at this title page illustration, it's just beautiful. This is the reason why you get these books. You want to read them, obviously, but just to have them on your shelf, to stare at them, it just gives you so much joy. So this one was about £8, which I got on eBay, and I was chuffed. Now this one is The Short Stories of Somerset Maugham, or Morgham, however you want to say it.
Somerset Maugham.
The reason why I bought this was because there's a book by
Maugham.
There's a book by this author, whose name I cannot pronounce. There's a book by him called Of Human Bondage, and I heard that he's fantastic with short stories. I wasn't there to purchase this, I was told of it, and I was like, oh, go on, I'll have that. Because it was very, very cheap. It was £3.99, but just has gorgeous illustrations and a collection of short stories, one of which is very, very famous, called Rain, which I'm excited to get to. Now next, I will go with this one when I get it out. This book here, this is a very sort of unexciting front cover, I grant you that. And this is Ivan Turgenev's The Torrents of Spring. And I was excited to read it because I was excited to read Turgenev, because he was a contemporary to Tolstoy, I believe. Yeah, these just have gorgeous illustrations throughout, and I don't really know anything about the plot in this story. I'm just interested to read Turgenev's work. I know that I'm certainly, if I want to read an author's work, I don't really care what the story can be sometimes. I just want to explore their work and explore their writing. So next, I'm going to go to this one, which is the most recent acquisition. For those of you who can identify it just off this, you have great knowledge of Folios. If you can't, it's Ulysses by James Joyce. I have read Ulysses. That was one of the books that I was excited to read this year. I read it. I didn't like it that much. I didn't like it that much.
Good. I hear you're a racist now, Father.
It's a modernist novel written in 18 chapters, each of which is a sort of parallel and a parody of The Odyssey by Homer. The way Joyce is doing this, not only is each chapter a parallel of a certain bit of The Odyssey, it's also a different literary technique. It is the best, most beautiful prose I have ever read, the first 3-4 sections. After that, it gets into turgid experimental waters, and I can't do it. I still think that it is something brilliant that I just don't understand and don't have the patience for yet. And I'm just going to show you some of the illustrations because these are very distinct. These have sort of these gold leaf engravings, and they're just gorgeous. Very abstract. I really like them for that. There's one of Bloom on a bench. I think it's Bloom on a bench anyway. Bloom on a bench. Really beautiful gold engravings. And just really atmospheric and totally fitting in the mood of the story. This was £25. So this next one is by one of my favourite authors, by a book I haven't read yet, but I'm planning to. This novel here, very gorgeous, is The Grapes of Wrath by John Steinbeck. And The Grapes of Wrath is set during the Dust Bowl and the story of the Great Depression on certain families. The way it opens, the first line of this is beautiful. To the red country and part of the grey country of Oklahoma, the last rains came gently, and they did not cut the scarred earth. Ooh! I mean, it's just brilliant, isn't it? It's just, it's biblical in its cadence and its tone, and it feels like a story that transcends time. Do you know what I mean?
Do you know what I mean? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's simple, you know what I mean? You know what I mean?
It's another one where the illustrations don't cover full pages, but they're really gorgeous and feel sort of sun-dried, like they should be in the novel. And this one was £19, thereabouts. This is probably the most beautiful folio in my collection. This book, absolutely gorgeous art style here, and on the back as well. It's just beautiful. This is Dr. Zhivago by Pasternak. But this book is a romance, a massively epic love story set during the Russian Revolution or the Civil War. I can't remember which. I think it's the Civil War. Revolution, yeah. Set during the Russian Revolution. I'm very interested in getting into more Russian literature, and this one was also £19, I think. This is an old edition, but a very beautiful old edition, sort of yellowed and sort of time-worn, and it's Anna Karenina. I found these folios, and they were very cheap, considering what I thought they would be, so I had to get them. And in this case, this was £10, so I was absolutely delighted. And the illustrations inside are beautiful and very sort of rich, thick, inky feeling. Like you should put your hand on them and your ink just pours off and stains you, is how I feel about these illustrations. The Tale of Anna Karenina, a tragic love story. I think I know what happens at the end, and I'm gutted about that. But I'm going to try and block it out of my mind when I read it so it's not in my subconscious. But the other work of Tolstoy that I have is this enormous, and it's genuinely enormous, single volume edition of War and Peace. Now the illustrations in this I don't love, I will be honest, but the one thing I do love is this wonderful portrait of Tolstoy. Now that just looks like him, doesn't it? I'm very excited to get to War and Peace. It is this epic narrative that tells of contrasting times in Russian history set against the backdrop of the Napoleonic War, and you have times of war and you have times of peace. And it follows these wide, enormous cast of characters through that time period. There are also many essays intertwined throughout on history, on philosophy, on war itself. And I found enormous satisfaction in taking a big, hulking work and taking it slowly. The final book that I'm going to get to is... oh, it's enormous. So this is... it's so heavy. Atlas Shrugged by Ayn Rand, and it's this beautiful, it is beautiful, this 3-volume set. Now, I got this at a Folio pop-up sale in London. But I saw this about 30 seconds after walking in. I found it, and I saw it was £50. which to me was like, oh my god, I've got to go and get it. So I immediately grabbed it and I was just about to go up to pay, and then the lady who was at the till said, do you not want to have a look around? I swear, I was just like, oh sorry. I'd gotten so excited and I'd gotten so fixated on getting it that everything went out of my head. I just finished the second part this morning and I'm moving on to part 3. But, oh god, right. Let me show you. So part 1, about the Shrugged, has this cover here. These are the best looking folios that I have by far. They're very sort of Art Deco vibe, very Bioshock, just Bioshock. It's absolutely gorgeous. Firstly, Atlas Shrugged is an enormous novel, and if you have a single volume copy of it, it's almost unwieldy. It's so big. Having these 3 volumes has been great. That was volume 1, this is volume 2. This is the volume I've just finished today. Oh, look at that, it's just gorgeous. So I probably should tell you what the plot is. So Atlas Shrugged follows a wide range of characters, but the main character that you're going to follow is Dagny Taggart. And Dagny Taggart is vice president of the Taggart Transcontinental Railway System. Essentially, the main crux of it is that the world suddenly starts to fall apart, and the reason it's doing this is because high up and very powerful businessmen and businesswomen suddenly keep disappearing. And they're not dying, they're just disappearing, and their businesses fall apart. Because their businesses fall apart, so too does the world, because it cannot run without these competent men running it. You're following this enigmatic mystery throughout, and that's the main compelling thing about Atlas Shrugged. I just want to read it again. Just look at them. I mean, this one is gorgeous as well. That's one of my favourite scenes that I've read in the whole novel so far. That's just a beautiful scene, and the way it's written is so dynamic and electric, but I think also that's because not much had happened beforehand, but that scene really stood out to me. This is volume 3. It's a mixed bag of a book, I think. I am enjoying it overall, and I think the second part has been a lot more consistent. I would say maybe get yourself a paperback if you're going to get it for yourself, because I think taking a chance on it with a set like this, that can be very, very expensive. It was expensive as it is. £50 is not cheap, but it's a lot cheaper than what it should be. In all, that is my folio collection. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you when I see you. So, yeah, bye.